Good morning, everyone. My name is Hisham Qutob, and I'll be talking about how communication played a role in my Fresno State story. So a perfect example of how communication affected my life is actually an example of my childhood. You see, growing up, there was nothing more than I loved than watching The Lion King. It was a great movie in which Simba conquered all. However, you see, my mom, the wonderful woman she is, knew that I loved the movie and decided to gift me with a mug. It was a Simba mug. It was my favorite mug ever. In fact, one time I even ate cereal out of it, and it was a great experience. However, my sister one day decided to drink out of my cup. So when I saw my sister holding my cup, I was shocked. I went up to her and smacked it out of her hand and asked her, "How dare you? That's my cup." Yet, she swore it was hers. You see, after hours of fighting and talking and arguing, we found out the Disney store actually had a 2-for-1 sale that day, and my mom actually bought 2 cups. So 16 years later, and we still argue, and we still have our discussions. However, it's not about Disney topics. It's more about whose major's harder now. But there's a few differences. One, I'm taller, and second, is that we communicate throughout our arguments. We discuss each other and we listen to one another. Because you see, as I learned the hard way in those many hours in time out, was that communication is the key, as we need to communicate with one another in order to better ourselves. Because without communication, there will always be consequences, there will always be casualties, and there will always be catastrophes. So today, let's talk about how my Fresno State story was affected by communication. Because before I actually began and I attended Fresno State, communication also played a role then by deciding wanting to go to Fresno State. You see, it came a part of my life where everybody else in this room, that we had to decide where we want to attend college and decide where we want to live our next 4 years in our chapter in our life. So, I'm not going to lie to you. San Diego, it's a beautiful city. I love Fresno, and I've been here my whole life, but San Diego, man, I mean, think about it. Year-round perfect weather, the classes are in walking distance from the beach, and best of all, no sisters to drink from my cup. But when I actually went to San Diego for a tour, there was something wrong. You see, when I was there, I was lost. I had no ownership. I had no sense of being there. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know why I was there. And it wasn't until I came back to Fresno State and I actually did my own Dog Days tour here when I realized why San Diego wasn't the place for me. You see, because during my Dog Days tour, I actually found out that where I got to meet faculty, staff, and students, they all cared about me. They all communicated with me, in which I wasn't another ID number to them, but I was a student, somebody who they were willing to communicate with. So now while I'm at Fresno State as my second year, I've actually furthered my communication skills and understood why communication is even more important nowadays. You see, I decided to join the mock trial team. So for you of those who don't know what mock trial is, it's basically students putting on a display of acting as attorneys and witnesses to prove a case. But another way to say it's a watered-down version of Law and Order. Dun dun. There's supposed to be a sound effect, but that's all I can do right now. So with Law and Order and mock trial, we actually just came back from a Washington, D.C. tournament, which it was the National Opening Round Championships, in which we took 8th place. And unfortunately, the top 5 teams moved on to the national competition. And it's not like I'm upset or it keeps me up at night anymore or anything like that, but we were so close. But throughout that, mock trial is a great display of how communication on our campus is effective and how it helps every single student, faculty, and staff. Because everybody in that club is an embodiment of Fresno State. As it's not just a student program or it's not just a staff program, it incorporates all 3 parts of this campus, which we're all able to communicate and break any barriers in our way, spending 8 months in practice. So while I still have 2 more years at Fresno State and hopefully more as I come back, there's going to be a few goals I want to see. You see, a few of my goals are all surrounded around communication, because as we learned today, that communication is essential. So one of my goals is to make sure that our national team or our mock trial team does qualify to nationals. It does still hurt me, not getting 5th place just because one ballot and one judge didn't like my suit, but it's okay. Another one of my goals is to see the new USU developed and continue to strive our community. It's because great leaders and great students before me, such as Juan Guzman, have have paved the way for us to show us that how communication is a great way for students to express their voice. And where at Fresno State, the staff and the faculty are willing to listen to the students and to help one another. And lastly, I plan on to actually take that leadership, just like Simba, and become a leader of my own tribe, and hopefully one day and being elected as an ASI senator at large. It's a shameless plug, but if any students are in here, please vote. It's April 9th to 11th. I'd be more than happy. So I leave you with this, you guys. Or by the way, my slate's name is Students for Students, hopefully you guys get it. So in order to have Hakuna Matata, we got to make sure that communication remains, because with communication, we're able to help one another. We're able to succeed, and we're able to strive. Thank you.